Hi, I'm Scott McLaughlin, and this is a quick introduction to using the Daisychains website. So what Daisychains is a website from a Garden of Forking Paths project that I did with Heather Roche and a couple of other clarinetists, where we're looking at moving from one multiphonic to another. So each of the nodes in this network is a multiphonic fingering. You can hover over them and see. You can also drag the network around to reshape it if you need to see things in different ways. Each of the edges that goes from one node to another links you to a video of somebody playing that transition from one to the other. And you open it up, you can press play, and then you'll get a video just of that person playing the first multiphonic and then doing whatever finger change is necessary to get to the second one. And you can see as well the different colors indicate different players who've taken part so far. For example, I can put this on just one particular player, so there's all the ones I've contributed. I can add in Heather's, and you can see the way that things have been changed, etc., and added to. You can see how some people followed a particular path, just going one to the next to the next. Sometimes the paths intersect each other and double back, etc. So it's a lot of fun trying to work your way around this. And there's 300,000 more or less possible fingerings out there, so there's plenty of room for people to contribute if I don't run out of colors. So how can you contribute? What can you do? If I go up to the contribute button up at the top, there's a web form you can go to that links you to something that allows you to send me information on what the fingerings are that you've used and to upload a video or audio file showing it happening. And this is pretty straightforward. So ideally, you would start from one of the fingerings that's already on the network. So I'm just going to actually go right back to the start and go to this very first fingering, which is this one, and then I'm going to find a way to just either adding one finger or removing one finger. Just making one change to the physical fingering will link to somewhere else. You can, of course, pick anywhere. You don't have to pick anywhere on the network at all. You can pick a completely random new fingering and move it in there. But the simplest way to start is probably to find some point on the network and then think of a change you can make. So in the case of this one, for example, we might decide to play this multiphonic and then remove that finger. What did the next person do in this one? In this case, the difference was the addition of the register key. And again, you can actually click on the path or highlight the path, and it will show you by coloring in orange the two things that have changed. So no register key here, register key added in that one. So when you go back to the form, you can take your starting fingering, which in this case I'm going to use the canonical starting fingering that I began the whole project with, which is this, and it'll fill that in, and then think of whatever that one change is going to be. So in this case I'm going to add in the top A. A couple of important considerations that in the case of that fingering, so it's thumb, left 1, left 3, right 1, right 3 in G sharp. I could take off, open a hole that wasn't open, or I could close a hole, etc. But if, for example, I take off the G sharp and add the F sharp, that's two things I've done. I've opened the F sharp hole, the G sharp hole, and I've closed the F sharp hole. So that would have to be two separate takes. There'd be one where you'd go from that fingering to no G sharp, and then another where you go from no G sharp to adding F sharp. So just think about it in terms of opening and closing holes on the instrument. Once you've decided what the change is going to be, here I've done adding the A, then you just press run, which just fills in the table to say what the fingering change is. You can add in your name, you can add in an email, you can add in a message, and as long as you tick the ethics form that just says you're happy for this to be put on the website, press submit, and that should go through. There we go, data submitted. Then you can go in and find the file of a video you've taken of you doing it, or again an audio recording. Press choose file, do the start upload, and you should then get a success, or hopefully not, a failure method. If you want to double check that you're using the same fingering nomenclature that I'm using. There's a diagram just here explaining what it is. And then once that comes through, I should get an email message saying there's a new edition, and I'll go in and do what's necessary behind the scenes to update the network, and within a few days or a week or so, it should get added to the network. Feel free to email me to tell me you've done it, of course. You can also do that through the contribute form. Got my email in there. The Twitter feed doesn't exist anymore, actually, so I'll get rid of that. But yeah, any questions, drop me a line, but thank you very much for taking part.